Hello everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports, and this is the CFL DFS video for week number 15. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how this week's video will be structured. We'll be going over my CFL DFS sheet for week number 15, talking through all the relevant players, whether or not I would consider them a GPP option, a cash game option, or a GPP paydown option. I will also be going over whether or not I will be in line with the field on them, overweight, underweight, slightly overweight to the field on each player that I do talk about, just to give you guys a little bit of ownership perspective at the same time as well. And I will also be posting all the depth charts as they do come out throughout the week down in the comment section of this video, as well as any other major news that does come out. Anything else beyond that will be updated on this sheet, which will be available on my Patreon page. Very small monthly donation over there for that. But without further ado, we'll get right into it. We're going to start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Zach Collaros at quarterback, $9,600. He's going to be out due to a head injury, which is kind of unfortunate since he's had quite a few of those in the last few years, so could potentially be the final season for him, unfortunately, for a guy that's had a lot of success at the CFL level. If you want to roll out Chris Trevor at quarterback, $8,600. Does have some rushing upside, so a potential GPP paydown option. Technically, I don't have a list here on the sheet, but definitely could play him at the same time as well, although he has not been quite as good this season. Then we move down to running back, Brady Oliver at $9,700. He's a GPP option. Probably going to be overweight to the field on him. With the news that Zach Collaros is out at quarterback, probably going to lean a little bit more on that run game just in general. And then we'll see who's the backup running back behind him. Last week we did see Matthew Peterson. The last couple of weeks before that it was Peyton Logan, so it just kind of remains to be seen. Then we move down to wide receivers. Darius Stearns is out once again due to a shoulder injury. So mainly just looking at Nick Dubinsky at $9,500 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. And then Ontario Wilson, who did return to the team last week, he's at $2,500 flat minimum, so I would consider him very much a cash game option, and we'll be overweight to the field on him this week. If you want to take some shots on some of these other guys, definitely feel free to do it. But those will be the two that I'm highly targeting in this week just in general. Then we move down to the Blue Bombers defense. They're at $3,800. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on them. They have not been the greatest defense so far this season, but they could have a little bit of upside at the same time as well. Then we move down to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We got Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback. He's $10,600. I have him listed as a GPP option at this point in time, in line with the field on him. It was not the greatest game for him last week, but they did heavily rely on the run game, which was very effective in that game, so that does make a little bit of sense at the same time as well. And then we move down to running back with Greg Bell. He's at $8,400, I believe, coming off a career game for him. So I have him as a GPP option. Probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him, although it might ultimately end up being in line with the field just based on his performance last week. Then we move down to the wide receivers. So once again, it's probably just going to be the main three, Kenny Lawler, Keandre Smith, and Tim White, all as kind of GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field on all three of them once again. And then Isaiah Wooden, who is their primary returner, he's out once again this week due to a shoulder injury. Last week we did see Phillip Brooks handle return duty, so if you want to roll him out, if he's the returner once again, you could definitely do that as a GPP paydown option. Although they did sign Myron Melchill this week, a wide receiver who does have some return experience, so there is a small possibility that he gets elevated to be the returner at the same time as well. Then we move down to the Tiger Cats defense. They're at $4,200. GPP option, I have them listed as slightly overweight to the field. Like I said, Chris Trevor has not been the greatest so far this season, so there definitely could be some pretty good upside there at the same time as well. Then we move down to the Ottawa Redblacks. So we got some news at quarterback. So Drew Brown, he's $9,800. He was limited in practice all week due to that knee injury. He's technically listed as questionable, but he was activated, and they did move Tyree Adams over to the practice roster. So that means he should at least be active for game day. Whether or not he starts is going to be a big question mark. That was something that we will have a better answer to on Thursday as that depth chart does come out. So definitely we'll be looking to that. If it is Dustin Crum at quarterback, once again, he's at $10,800. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Do like his upside with that rushing upside. If it's Drew Brown at quarterback, $9,800, probably going to be a GPP option, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field on him if he does ultimately end up starting. In terms of the running backs, I'm not really getting either one this week. If you want to take a shot on William Stanback, you can definitely do that at the same time as well. And then in terms of the wide receivers, it's the main four once again: Braylon Addison, Justin Hardy, Eugene Lewis, and Khalil Pimbleton. All GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field on all four of them. maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field on Braylon Addison, since he does have that price tag of $6,000. He has been pretty productive so far this season. Devonta Dedmon, the returner, remains out once again this week, although he was able to practice in full on Monday and Tuesday, but was limited on Wednesday. And then Keelan White, the fifth wide receiver, limited practice on Monday and Tuesday, full on Wednesday due to his ankle, but he is listed as available to play. So if you really want to throw him out there as kind of a dart throw, you could definitely do that at the same time as well. And then last but not least, we have that Redblacks defense, kind of a pay down option at $3,500. It's a tough matchup going against the BC Lions, but I'll ultimately be in line with the field on them, since I don't think they're going to be drawing too much ownership just in general. Then we move down to that BC Lions team. Nathan Rourke at quarterback, $11,200. Couple down weeks for him now, but still definitely does have that really good upside just in general. So GPP option, probably get me in line with the field on him. You could maybe make a case to be ever so slightly overweight to the field just to get some leverage there at the same time as well. At running back, we got James Butler once again, $10,000. GPP option, probably get me in line with the field on him once again. He is one of those running backs that does have a really high upside, which we do have quite a few of them on this slate just in general. Then we move down to wide receivers. Stanley Berryhill is $7,100. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him once again. Keon Hatcher, $10,200. Kind of been that solid, steady option throughout the season. GPP option, going to be in line with the field on him once again. And then Justin McInnis, who's starting to look a little bit better once again, so $9,300, showing a little bit more of that upside. GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him just in general. Unfortunately, Seven McGee's up to $4,600 as the return man, since he did have a kick return touchdown last week. So probably not going to get to him this week. And then for that BC Lions defense at $4,500, underweight to the field on them. I don't like that price tag. And, it's not the best matchup in the world at the same time as well. And then we move down to the Edmonton Elks. We got Cody Fajardo at quarterback. He's at $8,800. So his price tag slowly creeping down. He does not have the upside of many of these other quarterbacks, so that's kind of his one downfall. But still would consider him a GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Justin Rankin's coming off a really good game last week. He's at $10,100. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Unfortunately, Javon Leake behind him at $6,200, who is also their primary returner, wasn't able to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see whether or not he's good to go this week or not. If he's unable to go, most likely we'll see Isaiah Knight promoted from the practice squad to be that backup running back, and then probably going to see Arkell Smith as the primary return man, although they could promote like Karis Jackson from the practice squad at the same time as well. And then their fullback, Tanner Green, was placed on the 6-game injury list due to knee injuries. So I do believe they have another fullback on the practice squad roster who they will probably promote at the same time as well. And then we move down to wide receivers. So we got Curly Giddens Jr., $6,300. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. And then we got Keon Julian Grant, $6,600. GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him. I like the chemistry that he has shown with Cody Fajardo, and obviously they do have some chemistry going back to past seasons at the same time as well. And then moving down to Benjamin Victor, $3,300 pay down option if you want to go there, probably in line with the field on him. Unfortunately, O.J. Hilaire, who played pretty well for them last week, still not listed on DraftKings for whatever reason. If he does ultimately end up getting added before lock, would probably consider him a paydown option at the same time. And then J.J. Jones was signed to their practice roster this week, but he's not expected to make a major impact in the foreseeable future. And then we move down to the Elks defense, $3,700 paydown option, probably going to be in line with the field on them. Not making a major stand on them one way or another, but there is a little bit upside that could be there at the same time as well. Moving down to the Toronto Argonauts at quarterback, we got Chad Kelly, was able to practice in a limited capacity on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that leg injury. Still expected to be out once again this week, but he's still on that 6-game injury list, so Nick Arbuckle is still the starter. He's at $11,400. He's played really well as of late. I do have him listed as a GPP option, but I am slightly underweight to the field on him, and that's purely just based on that price tag, but definitely do like the upside that he could potentially have in this matchup once again. And then in terms of the running backs, Deontay McMahon was limited practice on Tuesday and Wednesday due to an ankle injury. Maya Williams is still technically listed on that 6-game injury list. Nothing on the practice report when it comes to him, which is a little bit weird if I have to say so. And then Spencer Brown was also limited in practice on Tuesday and Wednesday due to a hip injury now. If all three of them ultimately end up missing, then we're probably going to see Penny Boone being promoted from that practice roster. And they're probably just going to throw the ball a ton in that situation just in general. So these wide receivers are going to look pretty interesting. I have 3 that I've listed as GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field. And that's DeJuan Brissett, Kevin Meidel, and Makai Polk, who just came back to the team last week. Jake Herslow, I got at $8,600 GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him. We'll see whether or not Tavares Daniels plays this week or not. I don't think I've seen him on that injury report. I'll have to double check that just to see because he did ultimately end up missing last week. And then last but not least, we have that Toronto Argonauts defense. They're at $4,300 GPP option. Probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on them. Although, if they rely heavily on the passing game on offense, this could be a little bit more back and forth game, which could ultimately end up being a good thing for the defense, but it could also potentially be a negative thing at the same time as well. Then we move down to the Montreal Alouettes. So quarterback got a little bit interesting this week because we got news that McCloy Bethel-Thompson was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to his elbow injury. So we'll see whether or not he's back this week. Davis Alexander was able to practice in a limited capacity on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that hamstring injury. So he'll probably be back in a couple weeks, I would assume, at this point in time. James Morgan pretty much has not been great so far. If it's McCloy Bethel-Thompson, it looks a little bit better for the receivers. Probably not going to play McCloy Bethel-Thompson, but at $6,500, that is a very cheap price tag that you could afford you the possibility to pay up pretty much across the board. So I won't rule it out at this point in time. And running back, we got some news that Sean Thomas Erlington was placed on the 6-game injury list. So Travis Tice is going to be a very appealing option at $6,300. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field, maybe ever so slightly overweights the field on him. Stevie Scott is behind him. He's not listed on DraftKings at this point in time, and they did sign Eno Benjamin to the practice roster, who's also not listed on DraftKings, but he was recently cut by the Calgary Stampeders, now coming over to the Montreal Alouettes. So we're going to move down to the wide receiver room. I got Austin Mack, Tyson Philpott, and Tyler Sneak, all of them listed as GPP options. Probably going to be ever so slightly underweight to the field on all three of them just because the quarterback situation is not the greatest at this point in time. A little bit of uncertainty there at the same time as well. Then we move down to the Alouettes defense. I have them listed as a paydown option at $3,600. Probably ultimately in line with the field on them. They are a defense that does have some upside, but with these struggles on offense, it has really affected their defense in a very negative way. Then we move down to the Roughriders. Trevor Harris at quarterback. He's at $9,000. I think that's a really cheap price tag for him just in general. GPP option, slightly overweight to the field on him. If you wanted to roll him out in cash, I would definitely understand it at the same time as well with that price tag and the potential upside that he could have just in general. And then at running back, we got AJ Alouette. I have him listed as a potential cash game option, slightly overweight to the field on him. He is a very solid, steady, safe running back. And at this price tag, which is cheaper than his normal price tag, I definitely do like the upside as well as the safety with him if I was playing in a cash game setting. And then we move down to fullback. Albert Alchoui was not able to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday due to a hand injury, so he's most likely out this week. Morgan Runge has been active the last couple of weeks anyway, so I don't think it's a major deal there. And then we move down to the wide receivers, some more injury notes here. So Samuel Emilus, he's still on the 6-game injury list, but he was able to practice in a limited capacity on Tuesday and Wednesday due to the knee injury, so probably not going to see him this week, but at least looking a little bit better for future weeks, which will really help boost that wide receiver room just in general. And then we have Sean Bain Jr. He was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that knee injury. We still have not seen him back so far this season. Maybe it's this week. Might still just be in a future week. So not really playing him, but just kind of something to keep track of there at the same time as well. And then Dre McRae, who was the return man in the absence of Mario Alford, limited practice on Tuesday, but did not practice on Wednesday due to a head injury. So I do expect him to be out once again this week. If you want to roll Mario Alford out as a returner at $2,900 as kind of a paydown option, you can definitely do that. But in terms of the wide receivers, looking at Keyshawn Johnson, Dante Myers, both as GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field on both them. And then we have Tommy Neal as a cash game option at $5,300. Slightly overweight to him. He's been playing really well for this Rough Riders team. And then Najee Aju, who did return to the team recently. I have him listed as a paydown option at $2,600. And I will be in line with the field on him just in general. And then last but not least, we have the Rough Riders defense. $4,400 cash game option, slightly overweight to the field on them. It's a very attractive matchup versus the Alouettes. If it's McCloy Bethel-Thompson at quarterback, it looks a little bit worse. But if it's James Morgan once again, I definitely do like this matchup quite a bit. And then last but not least, we have the Calgary Stampeders as the lone team on the bye. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on my CFL DFS sheet for week number 15. As always, if you have any questions related to CFL DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then once again, I'll be listing all the depth charts down in that comment section as they do come out throughout the week, as well as any other major news that comes out. Anything else beyond that will be updated on the sheet, and that will be posted up on my Patreon page. Very small monthly donation over there. You get access to my CFL DFS sheet for a month, as well as my NFL DFS player pool, MLB DFS notes, snap count spreadsheet for NFL. So a lot of great resources over there for a very, very small donation. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build a community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core picks, typically Monday through Friday. I know Thursdays have been a little bit wonky as of late. They've been a little bit smaller slate, so I've just been posting out my MLB DFS notes for free on Patreon for Thursdays just in general. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And then I do have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week, typically on Wednesdays. And then last but not least, I'll be doing an NFL DFS core pick video for week number 2 that will probably be dropping on Saturday this week. It'll probably go back and forth between Friday and Saturday throughout the season, but definitely be on the lookout for that. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS and Prize Picks. If you're a brand new user on either one of those sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks, it's 100% match up to $100, and then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in CFL DFS for week 15.